Welcome to another video today to Bucket Ben, your travel friend. And for those people who don't know me, I make travel videos. I want to introduce to this legend here, Ankur Saini, who is the head co-founder of VisaWiser.
Yeah, hi guys. My name is Ankur Saini, and I'm a registered migration agent here in Australia, and runs my own company named VisaWiser.
Yeah. Welcome to my channel, Bucket Ben. So the way this interview is going to work, we're going to ask you some questions that have been raised by my own friends, and those friends have been, searching for these answers, and they're really struggling to figure out how do they get a proper answer, because there's a lot of information, misinformation especially, which is circulating around. People overseas might not be able to give you the apt answer that you're looking for, and sometimes, when you're listening to too many voices, you know what they say, too many cooks spoil the broth. So we just want to avoid anything that will ruin their career choices later on.
I actually agree with this statement of yours that yes, so many misconceptions and so many different sort of ideologies are there in the market. And to be honest, as a registered migration agent, it's actually our duty towards the community, those who are actually coming over here, to provide the transparent and concise information so they can actually go forward towards their permanent residency. Well, no doubt that when it comes to the questions related to the Australian journey, from where to start, how am I going to start? Okay, if I've already started my journey, where is it going to end with a permanent residency or not? So many questions, and I'm definitely going to give you a chance to ask me those questions, and we'll try and do the justice as well with every question.
Basically, I want to know, when you have finished your year 12, this is for my year 12, basically grade 12, standard 12 in India, or anywhere in the world, who have just finished their high school, and they're thinking about, where do I even start now? What is the right course for me? Should I straight go into a bachelor's degree in Australia? Should I do bachelor's degree back in my own home country? And so let's go with that one first. So what do they do?
Well, to be honest, there are a lot of scenarios actually involved. For the first, as questions being asked that, okay, for the people, those who recently finished their high school or 12th maybe, and wanted to come over here in Australia or any first world country they wanted to pursue their higher education for, they need to understand that, okay, their interest is actually inclined towards where. That is the first thing first. Secondly, if they completed their 12th in commerce stream or in the science stream or in the art stream or any other stream, they should choose the course related to their own stream. Reason being because you'll be able to give a sort of very strong argument to Department of Home Affairs that, look, this is what I've completed and this is what I wanted to pursue for.
I think that is a really good answer in my own experience as well. My second thing is, thank you so much for that question and answering that question basically. But what about those students and people who are in their bachelor's, master's, or probably are currently employed and they want to come to Australia?
See, I would like to give you answer on the basis of the scenarios, right? That'll be. I think that would be easy for rest of the viewers to understand. For an example, if I've completed my bachelor's, and bachelor's related to information technology, engineering, and humanities, right? So when it comes to engineering, people can get their skills assessed through Engineers Australia.
Okay.
They need to follow the certain instructions on their website. People, those who actually completed their bachelor's in information technology, they need to have a sort of a certain set of experience, years of experience, in order to get the skills assessment. And people, those who actually finish their bachelor's in humanities, and if they've got the relevant work experience, they need to go with same skills assessment. Why I'm actually keep using this word? Because that is the spinal cord of the whole journal skilled migration visas. If you've got the skills assessed, that means you can actually run in the race of journal skilled migration visas here in Australia.
So let's just break it down what you just said basically. So if I have to put it categorically speaking, if I have to nail down like, hey, certain professions do have certain value when you bring that skill set to Australia as compared to some others. So let's say if you are doing nursing, if you are doing something that is going to put more value into the community, chances of you getting your residency sorted is going to highly going to increase, I think, maybe for those professions. Whereas if you are going to do something which is more business related, then it's not that it's difficult, it's just going to be of something else, and the importance will shift differently.
Well, to be honest, yes, it's actually good that you broke down this question. But again, bringing nursing into the statement, I would like to say that overseas nurses, they need to prove themselves on the basis of the Australian skill set,
Yeah.
which is actually fairly not easy for them to do so.
Right.
Right, they need to appear into the exams, they need to clear those exams, overseas nurses I'm talking about, and then only they'll be able to prove themselves that they are actually a sort of, they are holding a skill set which is going to help the Australian community. So many questions. This is like, I would say that in Hindi, I'm going to say this. This is a sort of jalebi, which is so sort of streets, but full of sweetness.
Basically spiral it.
Yes,
So
spirals
there's no
sort of
straight
things.
kind of answer to it. You just
Yeah, it all depends like profile to
Right.
profile, to be honest.
yeah, no, completely fair point. And you're basically saying that for people, if they want to genuinely come here, yeah, if they want to actually want to put that effort into it, there is a pathway that can lead you to your residency. Is that what the bottom point is?
This is the see. To be honest, the bottom point is you need to choose your course carefully if you are finished with your 12th, and if you are currently holding your bachelor's or master's and having relevant work experience, then you'll be able to get your permanent residency sorted on the basis of the point-based system, which is anyways going to be reformed soon. We are waiting for those reforms to be actually introduced to the Australian migration system. As soon as they'll be out, we'll be back with another video.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep you guys updated, and that's the whole point, giving you as much as information. So let's just move on to the second big question that people have. It's like when you want to come over here, some people get their visa sorted, everything is all aligned, but then they want to change their course. They think that it's not the right course for them. Suddenly something happens, maybe financial reasons, could be emotional reasons. There are a lot of things that can actually affect your decision, right? When you are over there, you just want to get your visa sorted, but when you're here, you look around, you're like, actually, I probably have something else that I can do that can actually lead me into a better position. So what about those people? Can they change or swap their courses for something else?
Okay, I'd like to answer this question, but first thing first, whenever you are actually applying for any of the course related to Australia, choose carefully. As I said in my first answer, whatever your stream in your year 12 or high school, always try and get the course related to that, because it shows your passion towards your future. Secondly, if anyway something goes wrong, that okay, you've been guided or misguided, that okay, go with this course and later on you can do the changes once you land it here. At present, once you'll be actually finishing your 6 months in the primary course, you can go for the changes. But today, a lot of reforms being suggested towards the future migration strategies. We don't know whether, yes, that swapping is going to be allowed or not. But at present, yes, it is actually allowed. You can do so after finishing your 6 months in the primary course in Australia.
So you can swap your course given the current scenario.
Yeah, we can. You can change.
Change. Given the current scenario, but again, as Ankur mentioned, reforms are likely to happen, and then if they do happen, there is a possibility in future that you may not be able to change your course. So that's why it's really good to decide on now or at the time when you're applying for a visa, what course would you like to go for, and be very careful and strategic about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Thinking long term is the way to go rather than short term. So keep sure the focus is correct and you are thinking about it. Thank you. Right. So my third question is, what about people who have finished everything? They have done their bachelor's, master's, they have fulfilled all the career requirements, and now can they stay here permanently? Is it possible for them to just leave after their course is finished?
Okay. So the question should be that, okay, once I've completed my studies, is there any pathway for me to live in Australia? Then yes. Government is actually giving you the pathway, which is usually called a temporary residency, TR, and subclass is 485. It depends that what you studied. If you've studied a trade course, if you studied the bachelor's, if you studied your master's by research or PhD, yes, you can actually live till a certain point of time, whether it's 2 years, 18 months, 3 years, or 4 years, depends on your studies. But yes, indeed, you can actually live after completing your studies here in Australia.
What about if you're, so there is a skilled occupation list. For those who actually don't know, there is a list. Would you like to talk about that actually?
Well, at present, there are 3 lists: medium to long term list, short term occupation list, and regional occupation list. Now, come back to the point that, okay, once you completed your studies are actually inclined towards which occupation, whether it's inclined towards the medium to long term list, whether it's inclined towards short term occupation list or regional occupation list.
Before we move on, I want to actually ask about these lists that you keep on referring, because I know there are some people who are probably thinking in their heads, what are these medium lists? What is this skilled occupation list? Do you want to give a brief statement about what these list actually means?
Well, considering the present scenario, there are 3 lists, right? What is the medium to long term list? The occupation which is actually needed here in Australia, right? And the short term list is actually, once again, the same sort of occupation list, but that is not that much in demand. But yes, occupation is there, right? Regional occupation list is the occupation which is actually needed in regional occupation. Regions, like Australian regional areas. To be honest, when it comes to, or if I'll concise that every occupation list, that means if the occupation is in the list, that is required in Australia anyhow. The only difference I would say that if your occupation is in the medium to long term list, you'll be able to lodge a different set of visas. If your occupation is in the short term occupation list, that means you can actually cut a couple of visa options which through medium to long term list you can lodge. And when it comes to the regional occupation list, your options are actually more narrow. So it all depends which occupation list your occupation is into.
Right. So to break it down in an example, would you say a nursing, if you're doing some nursing, or if you're doing teaching, if you are doing engineering, do they all fit in these categories, or do they only fit in certain list and not the others?
Okay.
Maybe if you can give us a profession which only fits in certain category and it doesn't fit in the other, so that people can have a bit of understanding what you mean by this list and how do they even actually make a difference when you are, I guess, going for your PR.
Okay, I'll give you one, I'll break it down, this sort of question into a fair example. For an example, let's talk about teacher as an occupation, right? Early childhood teacher or secondary school teacher, right? These occupations are into medium to long term list. If your occupation is in the medium to long term list, you'll be able to lodge your 189 visa, 190 visa, 491 visa, 482, 186, 494, like a range of visas you'll be eligible to lodge. If your occupation is cook or organization and methods analyst, right, you'll be able to lodge 190, 491 because your occupation is in the short term occupation list, which is not going to give you the chance to lodge 189 subclass. but you will be able to lodge 190, 491, 482. So this is actually the difference.
Okay. So I think we don't want to go into too deep for now for this video, but we will definitely answer more questions if you guys can put down in the comment section. So if you have any questions, feel free to put it down, and then I'm sure we can make another video and talk more about it in depth. So yeah, thank you so much for that answer as well. Really appreciate it. Let's just now move on to something which actually strikes out based on the current scenario. It's quite prominent these days, and everyone is planning on moving to regional places in Australia. So you've got your major hubs, Melbourne, Sydney, the big cities, but then people are also planning on moving to regional side where maybe, and I don't know, you may have to answer this one, but is it easier for you to get your PR sorted there as compared to living in a big place, big city?
Well, if we talk about any of the first world country, right, they wanted to give the chance to enhance the skilled migrant population in their regional areas. Why so? Because they wanted to develop those areas with the skill set which they require. So if you're studying in regional area, if you're working in regional area, right, the chances are there that the Department of Home Affairs, they're going to give you the first preference. So if this is what the plan is, right, I would say that definitely take it. Reason being because living, working and studying in regional, not only going to push you towards your general skill migration by giving extra points, but also you'll be given a sort of first preference through the Department of Home Affairs because you're serving the regional areas.
That is a big one, first preference, because obviously they want you to help those communities out there as well, because they have been living there for years, but for centuries, and people want to, I guess, bring new people over there so that they can enhance the overall skill set, and that's the way to go. And fair enough. But what about living and working? Do you think they'll be able to make? And this is more of an experience, and you have to be personally proactive. I can't really answer this question for you, but do you think people sometimes feel there is not enough work, or maybe living is a bit difficult to live in regional side of Australia? How would you say?
Well, I would say that yes, if you'll be going on Facebook pages, and if you'll be going and surfing the digital pages or the areas or the domains and asking these questions, you'll definitely be getting the negative comments or negative answers. I would say that first come here, understand what exactly Australia is looking for. Anyways, if you'll be moving to regional, so there are plenty of businesses. No doubt, initial stages are going to be difficult, but I've seen people, those who settled themselves in the regional areas, after getting their permanent residencies over there, they establish their businesses, and those established businesses require these skilled people, which can be you.
Okay, yeah, so that's good. If you do want to go there, then this is the opportunity to grab it. I think because given the times, we desperately need people in those communities. And people obviously, when they move here, their first point of call or the first point of settlement is obviously these big cities, because they want to feel that they're connected to their hometowns and they have abundance of their own people. So that's why they want to do it. But yeah, definitely keep that as an option. Definitely think about if your course, again, tying up with your course that you're going to pick, is it actually going to be offered into those regional communities as well, so that when you move here, you do get the option of, hey, I can go to Melbourne for that, but actually I may be able to go further Victorian regional side and also get the same level of education and make my path to PR a bit easier than what it was before, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Time for a bonus question.
I'm happy. I'm ready for it.
For a bonus question, because most of the people, in my experience as well, and I'm sure in your family circle as well, they prefer to do MBA, BBA, Bachelor of Business Administration, Masters of Business Administration, and because these courses are so broad, and when they want to come over here, they get confused. Do you actually get PR in those or not? So, what can you help us in, I guess, laying down a plan where even if you do those courses or even if you try to apply here, you still have a chance to succeed? What are some tips?
Well, I would say that as soon as you land here and you've been actually got this sort of courses, for example, Bachelor's of Business Administration or Masters in Business Administration through your overseas uh, education agent. And once you land here, you'll be given a free advice from your fellow students or roommates or people those who you are already in contact with. Well, masters in business administration or bachelors in business administration, not having any permanent residency scope, which is a wrong statement, to be honest, because there are a couple of occupations. Once you'll be finishing or completing your bachelor's or master's in these domains, and later on having at least 1 year of relevant work experience, you'll be able to get your skills assessed through VETSS as in marketing specialist, as in organization and methods analyst, as in information professional not elsewhere classified, through which, because all three occupations are in STSOL list, which is leading towards permanent residency through subclass 190 and 491. On top, you will be able to get your visa through 482, provided that you are actually meeting the relevant requirements, and further can lead to 186 on the basis of the recent reforms.
Okay, so just to underline a few things, because that was quite an intense answer, to be honest. I also felt like, whoa, this is quite in depth, and I need a second to just process and absorb it. So, underlying a few things, let's say with visa, what visas can you apply for after you have done your MBA or your bachelor's?
Okay, as I said, you need to have the skills assessment first.
Okay, skills
and if
first.
We'll be having our skills assessed as marketing specialist, organization and methods analyst, information professionals not elsewhere classified, we can go for our permanent residency through general skilled migration pathway with 190 and 491, which is later on leading to 191.
Okay.
And if we are talking about employer nomination visas, then 482 visa is there, 407 visa is there. And if you'll be lodging 482 after finishing your 2 years, you may be eligible to get 186.
But it's not like, if I'm working at a fast food chain or if I am just an entry level employee, it's not like you can get a sponsorship for that. You need to show certain kind of value.
You need to have at least 2 years of experience in a relevant occupation. But there are sort of occupations in which you do not need to show that you are having the skills assessment.
Okay. Right.
As long as you are having the years of experience, that yes, you can go for 482. But all depends, we cannot give you the answer in a sort of a very specific way, to be honest. At present we can only give you the answer in a generic way. You may be eligible, but if you really wanted to understand that whether you are actually eligible for this or not, you can come down to us, or you may go to any migration agent for all these inquiries.
Yeah. So to nail it down very heavily, the main thing I think what you're trying to emphasize is it's like a circuit board, or if you are a programmer, what programs you put at the start and the results you will get at the end. There is literally so many different attributes that can make a big change into your whole programming. So you need to keep that in your head, that it's a long-term plan, which is good idea to actually talk to someone that you trust, but also someone who's credible enough to give you an advice that can actually make sure you lead into something, you are basically heading into the right direction. Otherwise you're going to be a bit lost, like a compass in the wild, where you're getting all these different side of directions, and it's going to spiral down to further problems. So just be very careful.
And I would like to add a bit in here, right? Okay, if you'll be visiting person A, always visit person B as well. Reason being because you'll be having a second opinion This is exactly like a sort of medical condition. If I'm struggling with medical condition, right, I'm visiting Dr. A, and then later on, the same advice, I'm going and visiting the Dr. B. So that means I'll be able to understand whether the advice which has been given to me
Yeah.
is actually a sort of strong pathway towards my permanent residency or not. If not, then again, you need to think twice.
Nice. No, thank you. That really, I think, breaks down the question into different parts that I didn't even think of before. But yeah, I guess that should help a lot of people. I hope that it helps. And if you have any questions, please put it down in the comment section. And again, we are more than happy to come back to it. I'm really, really thankful and really, really grateful that you are here today and doing this interview. Yeah.
Thank you very, very much for giving me this opportunity.